I thought I would record a short video for all of you just to explain some of the documents that are at the end of the Nearpod. Please excuse the way that I sound. I have some sort of sinus thing going on right now, so I apologize for the nasally voice that you're having to listen to right now. This first document that we're looking at is choosing a data collection method. This can be helpful for those of you that are going to be focusing on behavior for your EBP. If you look, there are two columns. The first one is the type of behavior, and then the next one is the data collection method. And as you see, it goes through quite a few descriptions of different types of behaviors, and then it gives you the data collection method that you can use for those behaviors. You can choose to do one data collection method if there are multiple data collection methods that you could take for the behavior that you are focusing on, or you could try to do multiple. I wouldn't suggest doing multiple behaviors or multiple data collection methods at the same time. You could maybe do one observation where you're going to do frequency, and then maybe the next observation that you do, you could do ABC recording, but it would be very difficult to try to collect data, multiple methods, all at the same time. Moving on. The next two slides are actually usually I present this Nearpod in class, and this is when we talk about examples and non-examples of places to get good, solid intervention. So just as a reminder, PBIS World is not a great place to get a reputable intervention. Intervention Central, however, is a place to get a reputable research-based intervention. This next slide is Maslow's hierarchy of school needs. Now, I know last week we talked about Maslow and his hierarchy of needs, but this is more geared to what a student actually needs in school to be able to feel like they are ready to learn. The physiological down at the bottom does tend to still touch on things that are more controllable as far as their home life goes, but these are still some things that we can make sure are met at school, such as eating breakfast and having clean clothing. Even if they do need to sleep during school, we can make that happen as well for a little bit. Obviously, we do not have control over whether or not they have a safe place to go home. As far as safety goes, a student needs emotional and physical safety within their school and within their classroom. They need to have clear school and class routines, make sure that there are access to counselors and a nurse, and just feeling like overall it's okay to take risks at school. The next level on the hierarchy is belonging. So forming relationships, making sure that you are providing adult role models for your students to make sure that they feel a part of a group and have peer relationships, to be able to feel like they have that sense of belonging in their school and in your classroom. The next piece of the hierarchy is esteem. So having that positive classroom culture present, making sure that you're giving students positive feedback, giving them time for reflection, and really encouraging them to take risks within your classroom. Once all of those needs have been met, then the student will be at self-actualization at the top of the hierarchy, which means that the student is available and ready to learn in your classroom. The last slide that we have here is also a connection to theory. And if you look at the headings at the top, the colorful headings, remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, create, this is kind of a hierarchy of different levels that a student could be functioning at. And it will kind of help you to determine what kind of verbs or what behaviors you want the student to be performing during your intervention. So if a student is in the remembering stage, that means that they can describe, name, find, list, relate, write. Those are things that they're working on. And as you see, the behaviors and the words at the top of the headings get more complex as you move farther over to the right. Whereas in the first column, they're remembering. In the last column, they're creating. So they're planning, inventing, composing, designing. And then everywhere in between gets increasingly difficult as you move further over to the right. So this is just something to keep in mind when you kind of think about what stage your student is in, and then kind of looking at what verb you think may apply to whatever behavior you're wanting them to perform for your EBP. I hope this has been helpful. Please feel free to drop a comment or a question onto the Flipgrid, and I will be happy to answer you back. I hope everybody is staying warm.